Hey guys, this is Gary, and today our devotion is on setting boundaries around your possessions. Now, when I first heard about this topic, it's like, what in the world does that actually mean? And then, after talking to some friends and others, one of the things that they brought up is think about when you were younger, had the roommate or the siblings that would borrow some of your clothes and not return them, or they would get torn up. Neighbors loaning power tools to a friend that never get it back. So setting a boundary around some of these things can be a good idea. I know that one of the examples that happened in our life when we were younger is we loaned a friend some money. The scenario was that we were saving for our rent, and we had a little over half of the rent in the bank, just waiting. The rent was due in 10 more days, so we were on track. It wasn't a problem. But we had a friend that was in need, and it was a temporary need. They said that they needed this, and it was a bad scenario, but they could pay it back within a week because they were getting paid in a week. Well, we loaned them the money saying, we got to have it back in a week because our rent's due, and that is our rent money. So we loaned it to them, and as the scenario worked out, they weren't able to get the money back. So we had gotten real close. We thought we had the money, and we wrote the check, and we thought, well, they're going to pay us back by the time they can cash the check, so we'll be in good shape. Well, as it turned out, when they didn't pay us back, we ended up where we were late on our rent because of the check bounced. When the check bounced, it caused a late fee from the apartments. Then the bank charged an overdraft fee. Now, the apartment still had that check, so they kept rescinding it, and they rescinded about 3 times, and every time it caused another overdraft, and those overdrafts caused other things to fail, and we ended up with over $250 worth of late fees because of that scenario. So we learned to set boundaries in our loaning practice, that we wouldn't give money that we didn't have. And we would also try and make sure that if we did loan the money, we set ourselves up in a position to be able to hold our friendships should it not get returned. Because when you ended up with $450 worth of frustration, which we had in that scenario, it's pretty easy to lose friendships and actually go with bitterness and say, I'll never do that again. But communication and setting clear boundaries really helps out. I'll give you another dream scenario. A dream scenario would be getting a boat or an RV. Now, there's nothing wrong with that, especially if you can pay for it, or everything's good there. But my final goal in life is to hear, "Well done, thou good and faithful servant." So in doing that, whatever I do in the meantime has to line up with that goal of, "Well done, thou good and faithful servant." So in our possessions, set boundaries that make sense, but also the boundaries have to line up with your goal, which in my case is to hear, "Well done, good and faithful servant."